Welcome to AAAmen.com audio files. My name is Auntie Jill, and this is chapter 30 of the book Living Sober, and the chapter is entitled Trying the 12 Steps. When all else fails, said the old country doctor, follow directions. We have not talked about the 12 steps offered by AA as a program of recovery from alcoholism, and they're not going to be listed or explained here, because anyone curious about them can find them elsewhere. Their origin is striking, however. In 1935, two men met in Akron, Ohio. Both of them were then considered hopeless drunkards, which seemed shameful to those who had known them. One had been a Wall Street hotshot, the other a noted surgeon. But both had drunk themselves almost to death. Each had tried many, quote, cures and been hospitalized over and over. It looked certain, even to them, that they were both beyond help. Almost accidentally, in getting to know each other, they stumbled onto an astonishing fact. When each of them tried to help the other, the result was sobriety. They took the idea to an alcoholic lawyer confined to a hospital bed, and he too decided to try it. The three then kept on, each in his individual life, trying to help one alcoholic after another. If the people they tried to help sometimes did not want their aid, they nevertheless knew the effort was worthwhile, because in each case the would-be helper stayed sober, even if the so-called patient kept on drinking. Persisting at this avocation for their own benefit, this nameless little band of ex-drunks suddenly realized in 1937 that 20 of them were sober. They cannot be blamed for thinking a miracle had happened. They agreed they ought to write a record of what had happened, so their experience could be widely distributed. But as you can imagine, they ran into real difficulty in reaching agreement on precisely what had taken place. It wasn't until 1939 that they were able to publish an account they could all subscribe to. By then, they numbered about 100. They wrote that the pathway to recovery they had followed up to then consisted of 12 steps, and they believed anyone who followed that pathway would reach the same destination. Their number has grown to more than 2 million, and they are virtually unanimous in their conviction. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. Many of us had long been booze fighters. Time after time, we'd stopped drinking and tried to stay stopped, only to return to drinking sooner or later and find ourselves in increasing trouble. But those 12 steps of AA mark our road to recovery. Now, we do not have to fight anymore, and our path is open to all comers. Hundreds of us had only a vague idea of what AA was before we actually came to this fellowship. Now, we sometimes think that there is more misinformation than truth about AA floating around. So if you've not looked into AA firsthand, we can imagine some of the distorted, false impressions you may have picked up since we had so many of those ourselves. Happily, you need not be misled by such misrepresentations and rumors, because it's perfectly easy to see and hear the real AA for yourself. AA publications and any nearby AA office or meeting, see your local directory or aa.org online or the websites and such to find meetings any time of the day. These are original sources of facts which surprised many of us. You need not take any second-hand opinions because you can get free information and make up your own mind. Really getting a fair picture of AA may be one instance in which willpower can be put to a very good use. We know for sure that alcoholics do have tremendous willpower. Consider the ways we could manage to get a drink in defiance of all visible possibilities. Merely to get up some mornings with a rusting cast iron stomach, all your teeth wearing tiny sweaters, and each hair electrified, that takes willpower many non-drinkers rarely dream of. Once you've gotten up with your head on those certain mornings, the ability to carry it all through the day is further evidence of fabulous strength of will. Oh yes, real drinkers have real willpower. The trick we learned was to put that will to work for our health and to make ourselves explore recovery ideas at great depth, even though it sometimes might have seemed like drudgery. It may help if you try to remember that AA members are not eager to question you. We may not even seem to be listening to you much, but spend more time laying on you the unvarnished facts of our own illness. We are in pursuit of recovery, you know, so we talk to you very much for our own benefit. We want to help you, all right, but only if you want us to. It may be that problem drinking is, indeed, as some psychological experts say, an ailment characterized especially by egocentricity. Not all alcoholics are egotistical, although many of us has learned to see that tendency in ourselves. Others of us felt inferior most of the time. We felt equal or superior to other people only when drinking. No matter which type we were, we realize now that we were excessively self-centered, chiefly concerned about our feelings, our problems, other people's reaction to us, and our own past and future. Therefore, trying to get into communication with and to help other people is a recovery measure for us because it helps take us out of ourselves. Trying to heal ourselves by helping others works, even when it is an insincere gesture. Just try it sometime. If you really listen to, not just hear, what is being said, you may find the person talking has quietly slipped inside your head and seems to be describing the landscape there, the shifting shapes of nameless fears, the color and chill of impending doom, if not the actual events and words stored in your brain. In other words, we identify. And whether this happens or not, you will almost surely have a good laugh or two of the company of AAs, and you'll probably pick up a couple ideas on living sober. If you want to use them, that is up to you. Whatever you decide to do, remember that making these ideas available is one of the steps towards recovery for us. Thank you for listening. This has been Chapter 30 of Living Sober entitled Trying the 12 Steps. My name is Auntie Jill.